Mississippi Comic-Con. How are you guys doing? Everybody good to be here? We're all back together, family again. Put your hands together for our first guest of the weekend, Mr. Henry Cusick. How have the folks in Jackson treated you so far?
What, sorry?
How have the folks in Jackson treated you so far today?
Super nice. Haven't really met, I just got here at 10, times at 11:30. So I haven't met many people yet, but I'm digging the accents. So.
Well, the way this is going to work, we have it set up so there's a microphone right here, so if you have questions, this is your time to get to ask the questions you have. However, that microphone's right there, and y'all are right here. I could probably be in your lap faster than you can get to a microphone. So if you have a question, feel free just to kind of raise your hand. I will bring a microphone to you if that's easier for you, okay? Does that work for everybody?
Yep. Yes.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and kick it off. So, talk to us a little bit about Lost, obviously. You joined the cast in the second season.
It gets blurry.
So the cast was already assembled. They've already done 22, 23 episodes. And then they bring a new guy. Talk to us a little bit about the process when you joined the cast, kind of the casting process, how that worked out. And then maybe the vibe on set that you got joining this existing entourage, this group, this company of actors who are already established and they've already built their relationships, and then the new guy down in the hole shows up on set.
That's a lot of questions. What was the first one? So, you're taking me down memory. This is a long time ago. It's 2006. And I joined the show, and I hadn't seen it. And I arrived in Hawaii. And I grew up in the West Indies, so I remember arriving in Hawaii thinking, oh my gosh, I know this place, I feel like I know it. And everyone said to me, you're the guy down the hatch. And I didn't really know what that meant. And slowly it dawned on me. And then I asked to see some of the episodes because I wanted to know what show I was on. And, you know, it was one of those bizarre things. When I shot my first scenes in the hatch, I remember thinking how comfortable I felt. How easy this was, and how right it all seemed, not just the show, but also being in Hawaii. And Hawaii is still home for me. But it just all felt so right, and it was just, yeah, it was like a love. It was, I mean, sadly, that was the first show I ever did in America. So I didn't know how good it was, you know, working in Hawaii. You know, I was working on the beach, getting paid, you know, the whole thing. Like, oh, this is normal. It's like, no, this was like, I hit the jackpot. So ever since then, it's been, you know, it's been hard to reach that sort of pinnacle. But yeah.
Speaking of that, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but I've always been told that when you meet an artist whose work you appreciate, you should let them know. And so I will let you know. I feel like your performance is the majority, the beating heart behind one of, if not the best episodes of television with The Constant, season 1. Talk to us a little bit about that. You got to interact with folks, the rest of the cast, and you worked with Clancy, you worked with Sonia. Talk to us a little bit about crafting that story, you know, making those connections, because it was, you were not on set. You had to do some really emotional stuff. Yes. without that interaction.
Well, that was a good thing, because working with a big ensemble, it's much harder, because the camera has to turn on each individual character, so you're doing the same thing again and again. When you're working with fewer people, it's much easier. You just do your thing, the other person does that. And I much prefer working with fewer actors than a big ensemble. It takes a lot more time with an ensemble, and it can be quite tiresome, to be honest. Working with Clancy Brown, I was a huge fan of his, so I let him know immediately. I couldn't believe I was working with him, you know, and he was just terrific. I remember we were doing a scene on the rock face, and I attacked him, and I went 100%, and I threw him against the thing, and he went, I like this guy. And I thought, great, we're gonna get on really good. And we did, we got on great, really like him. I'd love to work with him again. Sonia was just a treat. You know, when I first met her, she was, you know, we're both from Britain, and we had friends in common from back home. And, we just got on really well, and she was, again, a joy. Alan Dale was another actor who I'd seen in Neighbours, and just the funniest guy, having stitches. But I worked with fewer actors, but more intensely, and I had more of a relationship. So every time I saw them, they weren't there all the time, but when they came back, we just, it was just a different feeling, I think. Like Finola was another one. So they were always happy to return, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What questions do you guys have? 'Cause I can do this the rest of our time, believe me. But this is your time as well. So if anybody has a question, again, you feel free to use this microphone, or if you just want to raise your hand, I can certainly come to you. Any questions? Come on. That's a lot of steps. I'm coming to you though. No, she gets me first. Hold on. I knew I shouldn't have moved that mic. Oh, this is going to be a great question too, I can tell.
Did you get any further? Go to the top. Run to the top.
All right. So I got my steps in for the day. Hey, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Tabitha.
Hello.
I absolutely love you. But my question is for the 100.
Okay.
How did you feel when you found out that Kane was getting taken off the show?
When he was gonna, spoiler, die? So, sorry, I was okay with it. You know, I was offered another job on The Passage, another TV show, so it was all done beforehand, that I knew that I was joining The Passage. And I think Kane's story had come to really an end. The only other thing that I think Jason wanted to do, he wanted me and Paige to get married. But that was going to be the end. Yeah, I know, that would have been interesting.
Great question, Tabitha. I'm going to go right here, because I'm not going down there yet. All right. What's your name?
Hi, I'm the twin. I'm Samantha.
Hello.
So I watched you in Lost and the 100. I'm going to ask you, which one did you like working on better?
I think Lost will always be my first love, because it introduced me to Hawaii, an American audience, and it gave me my career. The storyline was, I lived Desmond. I woke up in the morning and I was Desmond. I went to bed at night and I was Desmond. I was always Desmond. I was always thinking, what would Desmond do in the situation? And the 100, I liked the 100 because it reminded me of Lost, but it was a little bit Lost light. And so, but it's always going to be Lost is my first love.
Good questions. Good job. All right, I'll move down this way. While I'm moving down there, there's a story out there in the ether about how you met Carlton Cuse.
Yeah.
Could you maybe tell that for those who haven't heard it, or debunk it if there's more myth than there is truth to it?
Yeah, yes. So I was staying with my friend Brian Cox. He's a Scottish actor. You might know him from Succession and a bunch of other stuff. And I knew him because his wife, Nicole and Sari Cox, I'd done a short film with her. And Brian's a very generous man, and knowing that I was a Scottish actor struggling, he said, you can stay at my house while you look for a job. And I stayed at his house, and I was doing something in the garage one day. And he said, oh, my neighbor Carlton, he's something. I heard Runner, I thought Runner. And he said, he's got a new car, let's check it out. So we went over, he had a Prius. At that time, Prius was something, right? I thought, oh, it's a Prius. And there was a rather grumpy looking gentleman behind the wheel. I went, hello. And that was me meeting Carlton Cuse. And then, cut to a couple of years later, I got offered the role of Desmond. And he went, oh, I remember you from meeting you at Brian Cox's. So I thought that may have been a seed that was planted.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Other questions? I saw saying yes. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Michael, hey, thanks for being here today, and it was a pleasure
Thank you.
meeting you earlier.
Thank you, man.
One of my, for Lost, one of my favorite scenes, story arcs with you was when you were finally reunited with Penny and you promised to never leave her again. That was a very great and emotional story arc. Did you have a favorite story arc for Desmond, or episode or scene that you enjoyed shooting the most, or what meant the most to you filming Lost?
That's a great question. you know, the phone call with Penny. That scene doesn't have much dialogue in it. There's not very few lines in it, and we were shooting that, and it was the end of the day, and we were running out of time. And I did it once, and it was okay. Did it twice, and the director said, "That's great. I'm happy. Let's move on." And I didn't realize at the time how lucky I was with what I got with that scene. We had to finish that piece of work where I say to Naveen, he says, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm perfect." And I asked, can I finish that tonight rather than we would have normally pushed that to the morning. I think that scene, because first of all, I wasn't reading with Sonia, I was reading with the script supervisor, which was, who was a guy. The script supervisor was a lady, and then I said, I didn't like her voice, and it was the first AD actually, and I read with him, so he was doing Sonia's lines. And it was one of those moments that worked out really kind of flukily well. And then when Sonia came to the island, because she was in LA and she shot her side, I was standing behind the wall and doing the lines off. But I think that scene, the way it turned out, I was very happy with it. At the time, was it my favorite? I don't know. To me, the most fun scenes were like running in the jungle or swimming underwater. Those were the fun scenes. Sometimes getting to an emotional place can be tiring. But I remember that was just really quick, just two shots at it, and that was it. It was in the can. So, yeah, kind of lucked out on that.
Fantastic. Good job. Question. Other question. I hear her right here behind me. Yes. What's your name?
My name is Axel. I have a question. Obviously, sorry. So, of course, whenever you're filming TV shows and stuff, you develop like relationships with the other actors and stuff. So, on The 100 with Bob and Eliza, did you go to their wedding at all?
No, nobody went to their wedding. No, the first thing I heard about it was on the internet, and I thought, is this real? We all thought it was a joke. We thought, is this a publicity stunt? And then we thought, oh no, this is real. It was a surprise to all of us. But I'm very happy for them, because they're both lovely people, so... but no, I was in shock. Not shocked, but yeah, shocked.